Hello everybody, this is John from OneHourAcademy.com welcoming you to Lesson 3 of our PowerPoint class. I hope you went through the second lesson where we created this PowerPoint. If not, you may want to go back there first and get that done so that you have the same presentation that I'm starting with here in Lesson 3. In the second lesson, we started from scratch and we created a simple 3-slide PowerPoint presentation. And when we were done that, we went to the Design template area and we chose a particular design for our slideshow. And as you can see, the designs that we choose can really dramatically alter the effect, the look and the feel and the mood of the presentation. So it takes a bit of time to decide on the design that you want. And once you choose it, it literally transforms your slideshow into something completely different. So it's a big decision, and it's one you want to make early on while you've just got a few slides of content, so you have an idea of what the slideshow is going to look like. So the other thing we did in the previous presentation is we went through the transitions, and these control how the slides move from one to the next. So it's sort of an animated effect that you see as each slide goes through. And you can use the preview here to sort of see what you can do. So we chose this cover effect with a half a second delay, and that basically means between each slide we take half a second for the next slide to come up, kind of like a cover of a book or a flip cover, or kind of like what you see in iTunes when the album covers fly by. Okay, and each of these slides has that same effect. So what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to move over to the next menu item, which is the animations menu item. And what this does is it brings things on your slide to life. So if you're looking at a slide like this third one here, there's a lot of information on that slide, and you don't necessarily want to show that all at once to your viewers. You want to maybe take it one point at a time. I guess that's why they call it PowerPoint, right? One point at a time. So we're going to use animations to gradually introduce the content on each slide. So we're going to go back to slide 2, and we'll start with these points here. And supposing I didn't want to show these all at once, I want to show them one at a time. So the first trick is to just click in the area that you want to animate. Now, something else that you should be careful of is, I'm just going to close that off for a sec because that will come up again later on. When I click inside this area, because I've got my cursor on the second bullet point here, it just happened to land there, PowerPoint might think that I'm only wanting to animate that one point. And typically when you animate, you want to animate all of the points to come out in the same style, one after the other. So what you should do is, rather than click inside the content pane, put your mouse over the edge like this and just click it like that. So you see there's no cursor blinking inside it right now. That means that whatever animation I choose, I'm going to apply to each point inside that content pane one at a time. So if I go to the animations pane, you can see here some samples of the different types of animations. And in fact, with PowerPoint 2010, one of the cool things is if you mouse over an effect and then you look at your slide, it will actually preview it without you even selecting that effect. It just gives you a preview. So there's the fly in from the bottom. You saw the fade in where it just fades in place. You can hit this down arrow here and you can see some other types of effects. Some of them I like more than others. Some of them are similar. I realize that. But you know, it just takes a while to go through them all and decide which one that you want. Some of them are more dramatic than others. Some of them are very subtle. So, you know, once you've had a chance to go through them all, you can decide which one you like the best. I'm going to go with Float In. That's the one that I like in PowerPoint 2010. And notice they all come up like that. So if that's the one I want, I actually click on Float In. And there you go. I've committed myself to the float in. I can change it later if I want to. And you can see these numbers here. This indicates the sequence of animating. So it's going to do them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I also want the cupcake to be affected as well. I'm going to have the cupcake just fade in like so. And it becomes number 6. So that's a basic way to animate. You have some more control over animation than just that. And with keeping my lesson to 10 minutes, I don't want to get into too many other details, but I do want to show you a few things. One of the things I want to show you is this thing here called the Animation Pane. If I click on that, it gives me sort of a list, a blow-by-blow replay of each event, and they're all listed in order here. So this is a great place to go if you want to perhaps rearrange the animation. So for example, say I want this cupcake to come out after the second point, the cakes and cookies, and then have the following other 3 options come out. So over here in the animation pane, I can click this final animation and drag it with my mouse, and then you can see how it's coming up like that. I'm going to let it go right here, and now it becomes the third thing. So if I can actually do a preview over here, and you'll see point 1, point 2, then comes the cupcakes, and then 3, 4, and then 5. Okay. Another popular thing people like to do in the animation pane is maybe control the different objects so that they don't come out one after the other. Say I want, after the cupcake, I want items 4, 5, and 6 to just kind of come up all at once, because they're just the rest of my products that I don't want to talk about individually. I just want them all to show up at once. So what I can do is, starting at point 5, I can drop down here, and one of the options is I can say start with previous. Okay, so now 4 is crackers and ice cream, and I can do the same with soft drinks and say start with previous. So now there's really 4 things. Frozen, dinners, cakes, and cookies. Then comes my picture, and then the rest all come out all at once. So if I do a preview, you can see that here. 1, 2, 3, and then the rest all at once. So that gives you a little bit more control over the animation. Let's go to slide 3, and we'll do another different thing as well. Okay, so in slide 3, I'll start the same way. Another tip for you, and I talked about this in the first slideshow, you don't want to overdo certain effects, and you want to try to be consistent. So if I've been using that same effect, which one did I use again? The float in. Sorry, I had to look back at that one again. So I clicked on it, and this is the one that's highlighted, so that reminds me, oh yeah, I use float in for that. So I'm going to use float in down here as well. So I'm going to, again, don't click inside the content pane. I'm just going to click on the border of the content pane, and I'm going to find my float in, which is here. Okay, so then all of those things come in all at once. Now, another thing you can do is, supposing once you've got all the points up here and you want to talk about each point individually a little bit further once you've introduced all 6 points. Well, over here in the add animation, there's these other things called emphasis, and these are a different kind of animation. These happen after something's already appeared on your slideshow. And you can have it both ways. You can have entrance animations, and then once things are on your slide, you can do this emphasis to do another type of animation. They even have ones for exiting. I don't have time to teach you all 3, and you probably wouldn't use all 3 in any given PowerPoint show. But I encourage you to just play around with them a bit to get a bit more feel. But I'm going to just show you the pulse one. So I'm going to put this one in here. Okay, now remember what I've got here. I've got 6 animations that bring every point in. I've got another 6 that just pulse each item once it's on the slide. Okay, so we're going to see something like this. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then once they're all out on the stage, I go back and pulse each one at a time. Okay, now keep in mind, these don't happen that quickly in live view. Each time it happens, it's waiting for a click of the mouse. So it goes only when I'm ready to have it go by clicking my mouse. Okay, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to animate these points as well, just doing the same kind of effect that I've been doing all along, which is the float in, to be consistent. Okay, but you can basically animate anything you want to on a slide. One thing I didn't choose to animate are the titles up here and the subtitles here, but if you wanted to, you could animate those as well. All right, so that gives you a basic background on how animations work. I guess the last thing to do is to just go to Slideshow and run the entire slideshow in full screen mode so you can see what it looks like live. And at that point, it's going to wait for your mouse click for each animation to happen. So for me to do that, I'm going to pause this show right now, and then we're going to restart it again as a live view, and then you can see what it looks like as a complete show with animations and transitions. Okay, so I'm going to pause it right now, and we'll be back with the complete show in just 1 minute. So here's the complete slideshow in full screen mode, starting with our title slide here. I'm going to click to go to the next slide, and you can see the card effect come in. The slide is initially blank because it's waiting for me to click to have each point animate up. So remember how we did this? We had the first point come up, and then the second point, and then the third point comes up with the picture at the same time, like so. Okay, and then we have the other points come up right after that. And then on my third and final slide, we start on the where and when side, and we bring everything up one at a time with the clicks. They're all fading in from the bottom. And then we stay on this side a little bit longer. Whoop, there they all are. And we go through each point one more time using the emphasis animation. And then we come over to the other side, and we finish off with our last 2 points there. and then it goes to the end of the show. So that is the end of this show. And I hope you enjoyed it and you learned some things about animation. And we have a few more lessons coming up, so I hope you join me for a little bit more PowerPoint in the next lesson. And this is John from 1 Hour Academy, and thank you for watching.